Alright guys, so in yesterday class we looked at up to the point where we created the navigation bar, right? Today is a creating issue. Now creating issue, remember the CRUD operation, right? Create, read, update and delete. You guys have done before in the previous projects also, creating the API, creating a form, sending data to the database, then later you're going to display that, you update that and delete that. Out of that, this is the first part, creating issue. So creating issue is a CRUD operation, right? C, the part of CRUD is C. So in this one you need a database, correct? You're going to need database. Second, you're going to need HTML form. Next, you're going to need API. So if you look at all this point here, database setup, first setting up Prisma, right? Prisma client. So that will be the client which is used to connect with our database, just to manage our database, right? Creating the blueprint for the tables we call schema, right? So all that handle with Prisma. Okay, so when you have Prisma, when you install Prisma, then there you're going to create a model. That is third commit. Then after you have the building API, correct? And then after you move to the setting up Redux UI, right? You're going to install Redux UI because we need some kind of library for CSS for some component, right? As a styling, okay, style component. So that is Redux UI we're going to set up. Then now you need HTML form, to type some content and push, right? So that is basically building the form or building the new issue. So we're going to create form here. Okay, we're going to create the page, and inside that page we're going to create the form using Redux UI. Now customizing Redux UI theme, right? Okay, that is there, and maybe adding markdown, right? Markdown editor. So we'll see what is that. Okay, I think yesterday I show you guys, right, the form. Remember that with the all the type buttons, right, like the bold, italics and all that. That is the markdown editor. And finally I think handling, I mean there are more, right? More. So let's keep it up to here. I believe that will be fine. We'll try to finish at least up to here today. We'll see how far we can go, right? But so now database setup. In our case we are using MongoDB database. So let's set up the database first. Okay, so what I will do, I will go to the MongoDB. So in here, right, let's say we need to create a new project, correct? So let's click on here. You can, when you log into your account, right, in Atlas MongoDB cloud platform, just click on this button. Okay, and if you scroll down, in my case I have too many, I mean, folders, right? Basically projects I added, so I have to scroll down to find the new project. I will just, I don't know if I can, maybe there is some limited, before they used to have like 10 or 12 only projects, right, to allow. But now I see I'm keep adding and still they will not block me, right? So I will just create a new project here, and I will call it issue tracker. I think issue tracker, right? Yeah, that is fine. The spelling issue tracker. Let's keep it issue tracker only. Okay, so I think I already have one project, right, with that name, but I want to create again. Why? I want to show you how these things happen from. So let's keep it issues tracker, and next, and then create project. Okay, now after that, right, you will go to the database access here. Add new database. I don't want to do that, right? Okay, so click on the network access. Okay, I think yeah, something like that. Add IP address, right? Click on there. Do not show me again, right? This IP address is not added, so add IP address and allow from anywhere, or maybe add IP address like that, but just make it 000. Okay. Okay, let's see. Allow from anywhere should have 000. Yeah, and confirm, right? So see, this IP address is added already. Now let's go to the database access. Let's see what it will ask me, right? Add new database. Okay, so we have to now add new database user. See that? Add new database user, right? Click on that. And password. So put the username, right? What is the username? I will put admin. Okay, admin. Generate password here, and so, and copy this. You're gonna need later, right? So I will maybe put it in my somewhere. I'll save here. Okay, where I gonna add that readme file? I'll just delete all this. I don't need. For now I save here, right? Password later I will use. So I got admin, user, password is there, and yeah, that's it, so add user. Okay, so let's see. Why you must choose at least one role in the privilege, right? So what is that? Add built-in role. I mean read and write to any database. Only read and only read any database. So I'll just Atlas admin, right? Okay, so just keep it. I will just keep it admin. Okay, and add user. So this is created, right? So you can, the role here, you can even put read and write will be fine, but I think this will be, as long as I'm admin, right, I should be allowed to read and write. All right, so now, so we're done, right? Or what I will do, okay, let me change this one. I think I will keep it read and write, only read and write, right? Let's keep it that. Okay, so it's done. Okay, we got the database, right? So now let's go to the database here. Look at this button here, database, and build database. Click on that. Then you select the free, right? Free here. You can choose which cloud you want. So I'll just leave it default, and cluster 0. So you must select free one of them, and then create. Click on create. So it's asking me to choose motorcycle. You guys know what is this? Yeah. So my local environment, everything looks fine. Finish and close, right? Because we added already all these things, so no need to do. Just finish and close. Go to overview. So it will take few minutes, right? Maybe. Connect. Yeah, so it's little bit change, I see little bit change, right? It was not something, I mean, the this dashboard was something little bit different before, but let's click on connect, right? And then you're gonna see the driver here, and select this. That's the link we're gonna need later, right? So I will just keep it in my readme file here also. I'll just paste here. Okay, So this password, I have to add it here, right? And admin password cluster, and then here you can add the database name, right? So I can call it let's say issue tracker. We added the project name like issues tracker, right? But here I'm just using issue tracker as my database. You can give any name, okay? Find is whatever name you want, right? So I'll just keep it issue tracker for now. So that link is ready. All right, so that is all, right? We have to do with the, let's see if I can go in the database. Yeah. So if I will click on this, if you get lost somewhere, just click on this database, okay? And you will see something like this. Click on browse, right? So right now you're not going to see anything because we don't have any collection, means we don't have any table, right? Or database here right now, we don't have. Once you add any collections, then or basically table, okay, then you will see the structure of our database and all that here. But fine, so let's just keep it in the database here, and we done, right? So let's go to the, so basically in the database setup, we have not done anything, right? In our code here there is no changes, okay? I mean, I just added this one, but there is no changes, so I will not commit, okay? I'll just leave it like that. Now is setting up Prisma. The second thing is setting up Prisma. So you have to install npm install Prisma and then initialize it, right? Initialize the Prisma. When you initialize, it will give two things: the folder for Prisma and the schema file. So let's look at in action now. So I'll cancel this and install npm install Prisma. Even you can go to the Prisma website and check the installation process also. And now initialize, right? Initialize the Prisma. So now once I run this one, later you're gonna see the Prisma folder and .env file and all that, okay? So let's do that. Yeah. So set the database URL in .env file to point to your existing database, and all these things, right, is saying to do in the Prisma DB pull, so all that, right? But let's say for now we just worry about this Prisma, and you see the Prisma folder created and schema file, right? The next one is .env. So this is the database URL. In our case, our URL is here, right? So let's copy that and put it there, because we already changed the password also, everything is fine. So .env file, and I'm going to replace this. Oh, did I copy the same thing? I don't know if I did something wrong. Okay, copy, I can delete, I think. Let's keep it like that. It was added in string, right? So I don't know, I mean, it should work without string also, but let's keep it, no problem. Fine. So here is the admin with the password and the database name. We added this. So later you're gonna see when you push this schema, right? Later you're gonna see this table in our database later, okay? So that part is done. Now in the Prisma setup, right? In the Prisma schema setup, so our database is what? Provider. Which database? So MongoDB, that's the provider, okay? and it will read this URL from database URL from env file, this one. Okay, done. So change the provider to MongoDB, and also add the link to the env file. So that is done, right? So we can call it setup Prisma. Let's commit this. At least we have done something now. So I will go here, and yeah, I will just maybe comment this out or delete it. No need, right? So this is going online, so let me delete all this. No need. We call it issue tracker Next.js project. So let's commit, right? Setup database and Prisma. Okay, and then push, right? So whatever change is made, it will go in the GitHub now in that commit. Okay, done. So the next one is creating the issue model. So model, what is model, right? This is a blueprint, like when you build the house, the engineer will build the map, right? The drawing of your house. Same thing. This is the map of our database. How the way we store data, right? This is a blueprint, and the Prisma is going to have a client, right? The instance of the client. Basically, you call it like a driver, right? In the Prisma, we're going to set up that later, and that will make a communication with our database, with our front end. When you submit data or you fill the form and you submit, that client will just take the information, and it will map through this. It's all happen with this blueprint, right? Based on this blueprint, it will verify the data, it will check, do all kind of things, and then it will send to the database. Okay, so just for now, this model is basically the blueprint for our database. So what we have here, every database, right? Every table, let's say database, not called database but table, or in our case is document, right? Because we are storing data in the JSON format. Okay, BSON, right? Basically binary object notation, that the MongoDB, but it's also the object. Okay, so in there you have ID, title, description, stat. So in this one, right, you see the title and description. These are the only two things we are creating. The rest is all by default, right? Adding by automatically. So there will be field, but this all will be added automatically. Okay, so if you look at the MongoDB, right? MongoDB database, sorry, the Prisma documentation. Okay, how to set up Prisma, the model, right? With the for the MongoDB, there is slight different the way we add ID, right, and all that, because here ID will be integer, not integer but string, right? But in other database it might be integer. So there is slight different. So you always if you get some kind of error, make sure you follow that pattern, right? How to set up Prisma schema with for MongoDB. Okay, so that's what we have to remember. So if you look at here, what I can say, ID, this is the type of data. What type of data is this? Title is string, description is string, status is also string, status, right? But in there we have to create enum. Okay, enum means like predefined value, right? Like if that is open or close or maybe in progress. So we have to predefine, we have to add that predefined value, and we'll look at that later. Created at date time. Okay, this is also coming default, and update also coming default, right? When you update, update at this will be the date time will be added automatically. So always remember the object, this is the object with the field like property, right, and the value. So every time what happened, that every time when you gonna create data when you fill out the form and submit, this will be mapped. I mean, every time it will create a new object with these fields. Okay, that is the point here, right? Every time when you submit the form, our Prisma will create a new object like this. It will take the information like title and description from our form, and then the whole information will be added to our database. So that is what's going to happen, right? So yeah, so let's create the issue model now. So how you do that? Basically in the model file here we're going to create a model, right? Model, and call it issue like that. So when you create a model, okay, at least one unique criteria, right? So when you create a model and give a name, start with capital letter here. So that's what you have to do, right? So model issue like that, and then you put the curly bracket, and then you define all this field here like that. The first one is ID, so I will type 1 and see what are the things we get, right? So I will type here ID, and that is string, correct? String. The next one is the attribute, right? We have to add some of the attribute. So if you guys want to know more about the attributes, you have to read the documentation, okay, in the Prisma. But for now, just remember there is a property of the document, and the type of data you have to define, string, and the attribute will be like dollar. I think what was that, dollar? No, @ID, right? So that is @ID. So this is the ID. This attributes tells that this field is ID, right? For like some kind of ID, okay. And then after you have the default attribute also, right? So like @default. So when you have to add some default value, because I want this ID to be created automatically, and here the value will be auto, right? I think, yeah, auto, like that. This auto, yes. So remember one thing, the field map, right? Map attribute. Why we need a map? Because our MongoDB creates the ID which starts with _ID, okay. So we must tell this model, right, that _ID just match with _ID, okay. That is our ID. We're just telling here that _ID is our ID, okay. That is what we're gonna put in the ID field. So when we deal with the ID, we're gonna use the name ID, but actually it will be getting from _ID. So we have to add that, right? So that will be @map, and you have to put it _ID, and then the last one was the DB, right? So from this database you have to tell it what kind of ID is this. That is object ID. The ID is for object, right? So DB dot it will give us the suggestion, right? String object. So this is object ID and gone. So this field we have to, when you dealing with a MongoDB, you have to define your ID in this format. That is important. You just have to make a note. Remember, for MongoDB always there will be, for every model, right, you're gonna have ID, and that is what you're gonna put there, exact same line, okay. So these things, I mean, just copy paste, right? But remember that this is the way. But in other database, if you are using PostgreSQL or maybe MySQL or some other, there will be some slight different of creating ID. So what I will do, I'll just copy this whole thing, okay. The only thing which will be coming from I did not copy, right? Which will be coming from our table. Our form is title and this description. So it is complaining status is cannot find status is neither a built-in type nor the refer to the another model, right? So it says cannot, there is no status here, right? So we have to build that. So how we do that? Let's see enum, how to create enum, right? Yeah, I did not put here. So we have to define that enum, you know. Yeah, I missed to put that. Okay, so let's look at the code, right? So if you go to the, I want to, you know, okay, fine, just go to the commit, and this is what it is creating the model, right? So all this minus gone. You have to look at the file. Okay, so I mean we added this link for the database URL. You can see there the all the minus one is gone, right? Deleted. You have to go to the code because there is all the files, whatever the files change, right, will be updated here. Okay, so I want to go to the code, and the code, where is the code? So this is, I don't see the code, right? Here I want to go to the Prisma, and that's the enum. Okay, so enum status, right? That's how you define, and then you have to put the document, basically the status in capital letter here. So it will be enum, and the name here, what type of data is that? Status, and then you define it. So first one is open, right? Open, like that. Go down. Okay, don't put in the same line, that you have to in the next line, and then in, I think in progress, right? Progress and close. So I hope that is okay. Yeah, in progress and close. So you can define, it's kind of variable, right? Fixed value. So later, you know, it, this status, you know, let's say for right now default is open, right? But later when we switch to close or maybe in progress, through programmatically we're gonna use that later, right, in the project. So status of any issue, when you're creating issue, right, you know, the work order, kind of work order, right? Let's say the work order is created. So if you go to the car service center, you know, they will open the work order, right? And the service is open right now. Maybe later, after 1 hour, the mechanics is assigned to the service. So in progress, the status will change to in progress, and when the job is done, it will be closed, right? So for that reason we define it here, because this value will change later. Okay, so that is all, right, for our database. Let me go back to the our document. Okay, I should have opened the one more file, you know. So this done. Now you just have to yeah, so there is also the command, right? If you want to format your this, when you type, right, the model, if it does not looks nicely format, then you can use the npx prisma format command also. Okay, so let's, for example, see string is here, is I mean it's messed up, right? So let's try. So npx prisma format. Yeah, so now you see is properly aligned, right? Everything looks better. So the finally I believe there is a yeah, so next we have to run this code, right? npx prisma db push. What it will do, it will sync basically this model, right, is going to sync with our database. Okay, let's try. If everything is fine, connection, everything work, it should do the job, right? So that is npx prisma db push, database push, right? Yeah, so it's asking us the permission, so yeah, allow the access. And just gonna take few seconds, and then after should be fine. Yeah, look like everything okay, right? So let's go to our database and check if there is something or not. Go to the browse collection, and now you see that uh, issue tracker, right? You can see this table. Okay, and the issue is there, right? The issue is our model, the first model where all the document is going to sit. The model is issue. Okay, so right now we don't have any document, but it's okay, everything connected, working fine. So it's time to commit. So let me commit here, right? So set up what model, right? Model for okay, just leave it small, setup model, right? And push it. So next, what is the next step now? Okay, so building API now, right? So just for now, if you recap, we have the database created, a model is set up, everything working fine, correct? Now it's time to create the API. That API endpoint, basically endpoint means the link, right, the route, which we're going to use to send database to our data to our database, right? So we will create the API, and later we're going to test it through Postman. Okay, so how we create API? So let's say what is Olipogang, I think, did we answer your question on is everything okay now? I believe you find the answer already or not yet?
Yes. Yeah, I get it now.
All right. So let's build API, right? So let's basically, in the when you building API, right, in Next.js, you have app folder. There you just create API folder, and inside, so API for which what, right? What you add that folder, and then add the route, TS, right? Not TSX, but it will be TS only. So that is the type of mistake. So what I will do, I'm going to put here, because I'm working with API now, I need API folder, and I'm going to add API. Then I said issue, right? Issue issues, I believe. Let's keep it, yeah, because I want to match with my this work, the issue folder. I want to match it, issues, right? And here I'm gonna have the route dot typescript. So the API job is what? The API job is basically, the grab the data from the input field from our form, then send to the database. That is what the job of API. So we have to, do all the work. We have to just write all the code to handle all the, all the process, right? Of taking from receiving the data from the HTML form, and then validating that, and then basically, sending to the database. So now, right, also add API code to the post method. So we are sending data. Basically, this will be post, right? Post. So see, okay, let's write down. First, to write API, we must import next request and response, correct? So let's add that. Next, so this is we all have practiced before, right? Next response, and then our method will be post, so we can call it function post. Yeah, like that. And here we can say a request, right? Request will be next request. Done. So this function is asynchronous. We have to make it async, right? And also we have to do export, right? Export. So export. So we have to put like that. Now let's say when you submit the form, okay, when you submit the form and you are using this route, so this will be /API/issues, right? And if the method is post, then this function will run. So when this function, this is the post, so it will grab the data from the body of the form, right? So we can call it const body, right? Let's say body equal to request request dot JSON. So that's it. And because this is asynchronous, we must make it await, right? Like that. So that's it. So we got the data from the form body, right? Now this data must be validated, okay? So here we have title and description, right? So we must validate that data. So for data validation, what we use? We're going to use Zod, right? So if you look at here, install Zod for data validation. Okay, so let's install quickly. npm install Zod. So that is the library to validate your data. What is validation, right? Let's say someone, the name, the first name or last name or maybe email, anything you type in the field, it should be in the correct format. In the name must have kept couple of character, right? At least 1, 2, 3 character. You cannot just put a blank name. There is a person called blank, right? You cannot do that. So for that reason, we need to put the security guard, and that is we're gonna use Zod, right, for that, just to check all the fields is okay or not. So Zod is installed. We have to import Zod. So we say import Z, right, from Zod. Okay. So here we write we define, right, how it will validate. Okay, we have to define all that here. So the definition will be something, let's say we got that right. Yeah, so something like this. So see how it works. Basically Zod dot, right, and you have to call the object, okay, this object, and that is a function, and it will take the another object inside the function. And here you define all the type of your data. So what you're gonna get, first one is title, right? Title. So you have to define the title. So basically, let's say here, so I'll just copy this for now to save some time also. Look at here. So if you look at here, title, but how title should, how you gonna check the title, right? So I'm saying, hey, G Zod, right? I'm calling the Zod, and make sure that title is string. So you have to call the string function. It is coming from G, okay, string. So first it will check that title must be string, then minimum character it will check. After that 3 character, you can put 1 or 3, whatever, maximum 225, or you can put it maybe 100, whatever, right, the title. So let's keep it 225. So it will check for the minimum character. So if you put nothing there, it will give you the error message. If you have the title at least more than 3 character, then fine, and less than 225 character, and that is a string. Now same with the description, right? Why we just checking title and description? Because if you look at our schema, this is the only two field we are going to send from the HTML form, title and description. That's it. The rest all will be created automatically by default. Date, time, status, these things are already there, right? It will create only these two things we're going to supply. Okay, so where is that? Here in the route, right? Yeah. So now we created this validation. It will return object. This thing's gonna return something. So when it returns something, right, because you are running this object function, look at here, object function is running, executing, right? So when you execute function, it will give you back something, return something. So that's why we have to grab that in a variable, right? So const, and we can call it maybe what we can call, right, issue, maybe schema, some kind of issue schema. So create issue schema, right? So let's copy that same name. So always remember, when you run the function and you pass some value to the function, right, something, it will do some work and then return back. So it will return the function also. This create schema is, whatever it returning is also a function stored in this variable. So remember, you had before variable name and then you define the function outside here. Same, same thing. Here is the object function already created, and that function is giving back another function, which will be this one now, create issue schema. So we're gonna use that one, right? We're gonna use that now inside our post. Okay, so how are we gonna use that? So here this line, so let's write it now. Let's write something const, I call it validation, right? Basically this is how it works. You have the create issue schema function right now, and you just, it will say dot, and I think parse, maybe what was that, safe parse, right? That is the one. So this is also function, okay? And then you have to pass the data. Now what data is that? Body, because we need to check the body, right? Because body has title and description. When you submit the form, it will be stored in the body, and that body has title and description, and that is now validated here. So when you validate, it will return something, right, true or false. It will return object with lot of success or maybe fail, some kind of value, right? So let's store that in const and call it validation like that. So when you get answer from here, is stored in here, right? So we check now, if no validation dot success, yeah, see that now I'm getting here, right? So if there is no validation success, then just return next response, right, dot JSON. And what we can return now, I think we can send some message. So there is also error message in this validation, okay? So you can send that, right, like this, and then status also. So I'll just copy this. Basically, like validation, right? You can validation dot error dot errors, right? Errors. When you see a lot of dots, right, don't get confused. From beginning I'm telling you guys, right, because this is object, that object has property inside, like error, right? There is a property called error. This error is also object now, and it has property called errors again inside, right? And that has some kind of information. So just think, when you see dot, just remember the in front of the dot is the object, and from that object you are looking for this property. So think little bit. It's difficult in the beginning to understand, right? But now I think you guys have a lot of practice with object also, So now status, we can say status maybe 400, 404 or 400, right? What is that? 400. Okay, done. So let's say if there is success, right, if there is no error, any error, you know, that success is true, then we move here, right, and we say const new issue equal to, we're gonna create new issue now, right? So we're gonna create new issue. It's time to send the data to the database. So for that we need a client now, right? Client, and we don't have Prisma client, we are not created yet. So let's create Prisma client. So in the Prisma, right, in the Prisma we're gonna create a file called client. I think you remember the client Prisma, right? TypeScript client. So we need to get a code for that client, and where are we gonna find? Uh, so yeah, I did not put the link for that one, right? Oh my God. Okay, here. Yeah, I don't see the link, but anyway, fine. Let's Google search. I think with this information we should find. So best practice for instantiating Prisma client with Next.js, right? Okay, best practice, there is some code written already, and that is what we're going to use. This is the one, right? So copy that, and in our client TypeScript we just place it. Done. So here is a code, right, and this code will do the job of the, like a postman, you know. What is the job of postman? To take the letter and deliver somewhere. Same, the client job is to take action on anytime when you deal with the Prisma, either sending data, getting data, you know, update, delete. During that time you're gonna use this. So we're gonna now import this, right? We call it Prisma. So if you look at here, right, export default Prisma. So that is what you're gonna get, export Prisma. So from here we're gonna import this Prisma and use that everywhere. So let's go to our work now in the what is that, in the route here. So I will import now, right? I will import Prisma. See, at the rate from Prisma folder I'm getting this client, and there the export default Prisma file, basically the Prisma, right? I'm getting that. This is the instance. This is the single instance, basically single object, right, which is gonna take care all the process of sending data to the database. It's just think like a postman. Okay, so now right here I say Prisma, and in the Prisma I have now issue. See, so there was capital I when I create a model. If you look at here, so I can get it with small now, right? You have to use small when you are using this Prisma, right? And then from there dot create. Okay, and I believe there will be object, and we call it data, and in the data it will take another object, right, and that gonna have title, that will coming from body dot title, and the description, right, will be coming from body dot description. So yeah, so this is the new, that's it. It will, this will just create this title and description, including the remaining part, right, including ID, status, all these things will be make like one object, and every time you send the data, this ID, title, description, status, all these things will create one object, and it will be sent to our database. So we will check now, right? Just give me a second. So now once this is done, then we're going to return some status, right? So let's say return next response dot JSON, and here we're going to just return this new issue. So I want to see, right, how my data looks now. So I want to see, I will check now, and then status also, right? So status will be maybe 200, success 201, I think. Yeah, So let's see what I put here. So 201, right? Yeah, so exactly what we have done now. So done. So that is all, right? Basically creating the API. So we finished with the API. So uh, let's do the testing first, right? And then we're gonna commit. Okay, so open the Postman. So let me go to the desktop, because I want to send some title and description, to make sure my API is working. So I must run the server first, right? npm run development, and so this is the let's see, API issue. Yeah, Postman here in the body. Yeah, so this was the one I was testing when I was creating, right, a few days before. So the same thing, our issues, inside the issues folder, ISSUES issues, right? That's the same folder. Yeah, ISSUES issues, and then we have route, and the method is post, so it should do the job. So let's create first issue, right? And there is a description, and see, you have to go to the, when you open the Postman, select the post here, method is post, and put the route name here, the endpoint, right, of your API/issues, and then in the raw, select raw and go to the JSON here, right? You select JSON. Okay, once you do that, and then you create object like this with the title in the quotation and the value, first issue, and the description with the value, right? So let's send this one and see what happens. So it's like a HTML form, right? So we just get empty object. Why? 201 is created, but we just get empty object, right? So okay, I think I know what happened. So this will be asynchronous, await, right? Await. Okay, yeah, it must be await next response. I think, did I put here? I think something is not correct. Yeah, await, right? Yeah, so that is what happened. Okay, so let's see if it is created or not. I'll refresh the page, right? But I think it did not, okay, 0, right? Fine. So that was the one issue. So let's send it again from the Postman. Let's try again, send again, because when we deal with the network, we must make sure it is asynchronous code, right? So look at here, ID is this, title is there, description is there, status is there, created at, updated at. See all this information here now. Okay, see if this is in our database or not. Now we go back, because we must refresh and verify that here. So now you're gonna get the first collection. See, so that underscore ID, right? Look at that. So that's why the map, and we put this ID value there, so that our ID is equal to this underscore ID. So we don't have to type like underscore ID the way we used to do in our Express before, right? So yeah, so it's working. Schema is working. So let's commit now. I'll just put here. So what is this API, right? API created. API created API. Its name. I just want to add, what is the build an API, right? So let's put that. Build an API for issue. Commit and push it. Okay, we almost crossed 1 hour, right? Almost 1 hour now. Let's do some more time. My god, it's moving very slow. So what is next? What is the next now? So setting up Redux UI, right? Because now it's time to create the HTML form. So for that we're gonna need the some kind of library for our UI, like for design, right? Components. So for that there is a library called Redux UI. Redux UI. This is the one. Okay. So I will yeah, Redux UI, right? So here, from here we're gonna use a couple of components to create a form. For example, let's say text area, maybe input field, something like that, right? So we will look at, okay, so let's, how you gonna use that, get started. You have to install, right? You have to install npx install Redux UI theme. Okay, we have to install that. So let's install this. And also I think we have some line here. So yeah, so this is the first one, step 1, step 2, and add the theme, right? Basically wrap the theme to your main component. Okay, so first thing first, let's install. Okay, the next one is we have to get this, right? Import this in our root directory. Okay, so if you look at here, it says import the global CSS file, right? Import the global CSS file at your root of your application. So you just have to copy this. And what is the root of our application? That is the layout, right? If you go to the app here and find the layout, this is our root. Okay, so let's put on the top, right here. Okay, and now that is the theme, import theme, right? Theme CSS. So what is the next step? Now you have to import again the theme and then wrap it the body, right, in the inside the body. So we can put it maybe somewhere here is fine. Okay, let's put it here, theme, right? Why not we put just below this, and now we're going to use the theme to wrap inside our body. So in the body we have a theme. Okay, so why we wrapping, right? Because now anything you apply, any component, it will be applied to all of the our child component. Like if you want to use the Redux UI in navbar, it is available now, right, to use. So that's how it works, but this is the process we have to follow. Okay, so that is all. Let's look at here. So now next one, we want to test. So what we can do, right, let's go to the our one of the page and test it. So let's say we have an issue page already, right? Issue page here, we're gonna test now. So how we're gonna test? We just have to maybe get one of the component. For example, let's copy this code. So I just want to get button and test, right? So I don't want all, I just want this line. In that field flex text, I just need a button for now, and I will use that button inside here, right? Oh my god, the door is open. I don't know. Button, and the button will be, we call it let's say new issue, right, like that. So save, and let's check now, right? New issue. Let's see how it looks, this button. We have to start the server, so let's do npm run dev. So the local host, we don't have local host until now. Okay, so let's go to the issue page. Okay, and we added the button, so it should be there. Look at that button, right? Nice, new issue, right? So when you click on this page, it should open the new issue page, like the form where you're gonna insert the data, right? Okay, so things are working. So let's commit now, right? It's time to commit. That is done. Okay, so that is 5, right? Redux UI install. Yeah, so next will be 6, building the new issue page. So you just commit now, and the commit will be set up Redux UI, right? Yeah. So here, go back and set up Redux UI and push. Okay, let's do this one more quickly, right? And then, so building the new issue page. Okay, so building the new issue page now, right? So we need a page where we're gonna display our form. So new page, right? Okay, so there is in the issue folder, add the new folder and then create your page for that. So let's do that in our issue folder. So, normally all the related work with the issue, right? We just keep it in this folder. Okay, so we have the new, and there will be page to create a page, right? Page.tsx. So what is the route for this, guys? Localhost 3000 / issues / new. When you run that, it will run this page, right? No, inside here. So that will be react arrow function create export, right? And we call it new issue page, like that. Okay, that is what I have written, new issue page. Yeah, so this page is going to have the HTML form, right? HTML form. So from Redux UI, we're gonna like text field, text area and all that, right? So let's see how this work. Okay, text field. So let's find some component here, text here, right? Text typography is text. So let's see, that is the text. So that is all the text, right? So I'm looking for a form. Insert, no, text area, text field here, text field. So see, text field is basically, if you look at let me go the not dark but the light mode right here. So look at this field, right? Look at this field. Okay, this field, it has the placeholder search the document, and there is some icon also, right? Search icon. So that is created with this one. Okay, so you have to import text field, and how you write, right? You create the root file, like a root component. Just think like HTML. Okay, input, just think like that. Because this is a component, pre-built, predefined things, right? So we have to learn how to use that. It's just like form, HTML form with the input fields and all that. So this will be the main wrapper, right? Main wrapper, and there is a slot for adding the icon. So magnifier icon it is added. So we don't need this slot, right? We just need is text field and input, and then placeholder. That is all we need, input field. So that's what we're gonna do, right? And the same thing with the text area also, right? If you click text area, you get something, this component, text area component, and you pass the props. Now this is a component. You think like a component with the props, right? You have to define some props there. There is a variant for different styles, size, color, you can add all that, right? So that is how it works. So what I will do now, right, just to save some time, first I need to import all that component, okay, from the Redux UI, and you import here. Okay, the next you're going to define that text field dot root. Look at here, right? I'm getting all the suggestion already, and inside you're going to put that field, right? So basically we have a div here, you know, like you have a div already, so you're going to add like text field dot root, right? You put root, that is our main wrapper, okay. And now you're going to have text field dot input, right? And then you can have placeholder, and let's say call it title, right? Title, like that. Okay, now root, right? After that we're gonna have the placeholder, so let's see, that's the root. So okay, so that is root for text field root, right? Because there was only one text field, that is one component done, right? Now we're gonna have the area separately just outside here, so we say text area, right? And add the placeholder and call it description. Okay, and then we have a button, you know, button, right? And the button we're gonna have, let's call it what we can call submit new issue, right? Submit new issue. And let's look at our code now. So it's still running. Yeah, let's go back in our page. So so see how we're going to go to the new issue page. We don't have the link here, right? So let's add the link to this new issue button. Okay, so in the page here we say button, right? So we can call it, maybe, how we're going to do this is a button. So let's import the link, import link from next link, and we just add inside here link, right? Like that, and call it add a new issue, and in the link we can have href, and here will be the route, right? So the route is basically issues slash new, correct? And that will go to the new issue, right? So let's see if this work. So add new issue, right? So when I click this button, okay, so text field is saying, okay, so one thing, guys, you know, the input field, right? This is the client side, client, all the HTML form will be client. So let's go back and change that one. So I must make this page client, right? And now, oh, I get that title and description, so we have to fix this now, right? Let's do that. So in the div we say class name, so let's make max width of maybe XL, something like that, and then we have a space y-axis, maybe 3, so all the child will be separate. Yeah, it looks now nice. Yeah, so you know, this, if you don't like this color, right, of the button and all that, you can change the what you call that, the temp theme also. So how you change the theme, I think last time we talked about that, right? Basically in the our, let's say, layout, here you add theme panel, right? Like that. So it's imported now on the top. Yeah, so once you go to the page, it will display the theme, right? So which one you want, maybe purple, this violet. Okay, let's keep this violet, right? And that is medium, 100% trans. Okay, that's fine. Copy theme, and so when you change, see that the theme is changing. Okay, so theme is changing, so just to apply new theme, basically the color, right? Copy that and just paste it here, replace that. Okay, so fine, I just change the color. I will delete, I don't need now this panel, and I will also remove from here. my import, right? I don't need that. Okay guys, so we have done this. You know, if you want, you can bring even this in the center by adding let's say container, right? But we will look at that later. Okay, so the thing is, that is all, right? About this building the new issue page. Okay, that is all we have to do, and that is done. Later, customizing Redux UI theme. Okay, that is also done, right? 7 part is done, and the one thing left is, okay, fine, let's commit. So what is the commit for here? Build new issue page, right? Build issue page commit. Okay guys, I will keep it up to here, right? I don't want to take too much time, so please do your best to finish up to here, right? And then read the remaining part, but try to memorize, right? Memorize means do enough practice. Even if you finish one time or you feel like, okay, I know, then you test yourself by just write code without looking, write 10 times in the paper. Each step, if you master it day by day, trust me, in after 2 weeks, right, when the complex part comes, I mean, there will be so much mix. I mean, it will our brain will stop thinking. Okay, so that's why if someone has already mastered 100%, it will be easy for them. If someone not do that, then there will be more struggling, right? But I mean, you will do it, but still will be a little bit difficult. So that is my request. I will stop now, guys.